win, lose, or a tie, you know BG and Bob gonna go live, baby. We live here for the In the Trenches post-game report. How about your Cowboys 49-17 for the win?
Ooh wee. Oh wee, God, man! You know what? I'll tell you what. It was one of those. It was one of those games where I was saying to myself, it'd be great, man, if they just kept airing it out and just kept throwing it deep. And I didn't expect that to happen because that's just not really our mo. I expected us to kind of sit like maybe get around 30 after I saw halftime, and they just kept going at it, man. Brandon Cooks today. There was just a lot of dudes just coming and popping off, man. It was really really good to see. I don't know, man. I'm real proud that we beat the brakes off a team that needed it.
When you say beat the brakes, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's 89 points, 89-17 in two different games this season. 89-17. I don't want to hear about it's just the Giants. Them guys get paid just like all the other players on all the other real 32 NFL teams in the league.
Yep.
You're right,
Yeah.
Prototype. That was an ass whooping. But as the haters tap into as well, they're going to be talking about, oh, it's just the Giants. You're supposed to do that. But I know this. I know if the Cowboys would have had some trouble with the Giants today, I know your and my timeline both would have had the creepy crawlers on.
My God, man, that would have been stupid. You're supposed to lose to this team. You got beat. I don't know, man. It was one of those games. Obviously, it was good to see Dak just straight go off. Obviously, his best performance. It was beautiful that they left Lamb in there in the fourth quarter to get those two extra possessions and that two catches he needed to get in order to get that 10 and 150 for the NFL record. It was beautiful, man. We did exactly what we needed to do. That was big time stuff. And with Washington losing, that's a beautiful thing. We just got to maybe hope Philly starts losing. I mean, we can actually still really, really, really be in control of our destiny here if things kind of go right.
And that's basically what that was today. For everybody that says this game is meaningless, it's just the Giants. It doesn't matter. They're playing with some guy off the street. I mean, this is an NFC East division game. All NFC East division games matter. And like you said, we have to handle business, especially, when it comes to our division, folks, where we do have the Commanders that you just said the Seahawks actually just beat on a last-minute field goal there. Commanders took them to the wire. But we do have the Commanders in a couple of weeks. But next up, we got the Panthers. But how about let's examine what Dak Prescott did today. Can we just take a look at his numbers? 26 of 35, 404 yards, 4 touchdowns. And yes, he did have the one INT, but how about 640 total yards of offense? That's 640, 640.
Yeah, that's kind of insane, man. And again, we're talking about a slightly depleted team, but it doesn't matter. They weren't out there not trying. These defensive backs were not sitting here and letting people run by them. It's just that our team was better today, and the fact that we put our foot on their necks as we were beating them is really kind of a really good thing, especially against the Giants team, man. We're all supposed to hate the Giants. We hate the Washington team. We hate Philly. That's just the way it's supposed to be, man. This is a division game. We got to win them. We got a 2-game lead. We beat the Giants twice. That's a huge thing. We got to get it through the Washington team now, and we got to beat the Eagles when they play us in our house, which we are beating people's asses in our home this year.
How about if you had even Rico Dowdle in your fantasy football lineup today? What if you had CeeDee Lamb or Brandon Cooks in your fantasy football lineup today? I mean, the numbers were astronomical. CeeDee Lamb, big dog on the block. We're going to talk about him in just a minute. 11 catches, 151 yards, 1 touchdown in the air. Plus, he had a touchdown on the ground. Brandon Cooks, 9 receptions, 173 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, Dak was putting it in the air today. You look at 640 total yards of offense, 470 passing yards, 168 rushing yards. I mean, my goodness. I know it's just the New York Giants, but man, these Cowboys can really get you excited when they play games like this. Now, consistently, that's a different story. And I'm just so thankful we got the Carolina Panthers up next because, boy, I'm telling you, these Cowboys need some momentum to close out these remaining games in November. But how about CeeDee Lamb today, Bob? You made it. You called it. We're going to share it right here on the timeline. Only player in NFL history, baby. That's him right there. Read it in week, baby. Third straight game with 10 receptions, 150 plus yards, longest streak in NFL history. There's only one guy. He's one of one. A.J. Brown. Who?
We look at him licking his chops too. Man, I would tell you, man, it's beautiful to see it. This guy, it's funny because we expect all these wide receivers to be divas. At least some of us OGs that are old school that seen the birth of the wide receiver diva. CD is sort of the opposite of that, man. CD just kind of sits back, and you could tell he's getting frustrated with not getting catches. We haven't seen that frustration in 3 games. But before that, he wasn't getting the targets. He wasn't getting targets in specific times and places, I think. I think this is the game now where people, or at the very least Dak in our offense and who was helping put these plays together, says to themselves, when the game is on the line, 88 needs the ball in his hands. I don't give a shit if he's got somebody on him. And maybe having Martavis Bryant will help that out too. So,
I'm glad you bring that up. Great segue as we got Facebook user. It wouldn't be a show without a Facebook user, Bob. Tapping in says, it was good seeing Gallup getting a touchdown. Yeah, boy, I'll tell you, if a Martavis Bryant signing don't light a fire up under your ass, how about Michael Gallup out there today playing lights out, baby? Talking about CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks. I mean, the whole wide receiver corps seems like first 4 or 5 games of this season went missing. But, man, today, 640 total yards of offense, 404 yards in the air for Dak Prescott. I mean, wowzers, y'all.
It sounds like a joke.
Like you said, Michael Gallup with that catch. Yes, I think the Martavis Bryant kind of lit a fire up underneath the receiver unit locker room. Not maybe so much CeeDee Lamb, but maybe Michael Gallup. Them guys are like, man, I better get on my J.O. before I don't have a J.O.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It seems like a coincidence and it's a joke. That shit is real. That's also the motivation behind making some of these pickups too. Now you got to understand. Let's say for just a moment, this pickup of Martavis Bryant was specifically just to light a fire under wide receivers' asses. That's not really how they do things. Let's just say it is. That guy cost us nothing to do that. It's not. You're not picking up a $30 million a year player to light a fire up somebody's ass. You're picking up some dude who is actually pretty capable and bigger than most of your core to help them motivate them to say to themselves, listen, I could be replaced. And you're right. That's what happened today, man. We saw Gallup do some things. Obviously, man, Brandon Cooks was cooking. It was so great to see him in his wheelhouse. And let me also point out today that while I was wrong about a couple things, I was happy Bland got his interception. It wasn't a pick six, but Micah got skunked again. But the great thing about that was that we were seeing Tank come out with like sack after sack after sack. So as I was saying earlier, the bad thing about the fact that Micah, when he gets taken out of the game, is that other people don't show up on the defense. That happened today, man, in a big way. And that was good to see.
5 sacks for your defense, an interception for DaRon Bland. How about DaRon Bland? 5th interception of the season, baby. Leading the league right now, right? Yeah, DaRon Bland with the interception. We had a couple of folks with some sacks. You had Dorrance Armstrong with a sack, Neville Gallimore with his first sack, Sam Williams showing up again in the sack column, Dante Fowler out there with a sack, and the leader, the old dog, the OG, like you said, Tank Lawrence out there with a sack. Dallas Cowboys getting after the quarterback today, 5 sacks and a pick. I'm telling you, it's hard to beat this Cowboys team, especially when they're playing complimentary football. We didn't really see too much out of special teams, but we did see a Cooper Rush sighting. I mean, after Dak chopped up the Giants, I mean, Cooper had to come in, and we seen some garbage time, but that gave New York a chance to score then 17 points. I told you, Bob, I think we called it at the beginning on the predictions of the scores. I said 50-0. We're going to put 50 on them to be respectable, but 49-17, I'll take that. I think you said 40-10, if I'm not mistaken. Did you?
I did.
Couple Cowboy fans know what the fuck we're talking about over here. So if you're just tapping in, baby, that's why you follow us here. It is In the Trenches post-game show with your boy Bob and BG. The Cowboys with the big-time win, division win here today. We want to hear from y'all. Where the green badge is at. Leave us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Like my girl Sarah says, that will be like a home game in Carolina. Yeah, it's going to be a takeover out there. Shout out to all of the Cowboy fans. Going to be a lot of boots-on-ground events out there. A lot of meet and greets, a lot of fan clubs, a lot of things, a lot of information will be coming out this week. If you're especially going out to North Carolina, so shout out to everybody out there in the Carolinas. I think John, who joined us on the pregame show, is going to be out there, boots on ground too. Am I not mistaken, Bob?
Yeah, he should be out there. He's going to go out there and tailgate just for the hell of it because he's not that far away from the stadium. He's got friends that we grew up with in Miami that live out there as well that he's going to catch up with and hang out. And he said if we get him on one of the pre-games or whatever, he's probably going to walk around and try and catch up with all the Cowboys tailgaters that are in the Carolina parking lot, which would be pretty cool to check out. But yeah, God, that's pretty badass, man. I mean, the last time we were there, which is about 6 years ago, it was me and my buddy Damien and Paul
and long?
John out there. I know.
I remember when y'all went out there. I think was this crazy, 6 years ago?
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Damn, time flies.
18. I know, man. Yeah, it's been a while, man. But anyway, that was a cool time, and the Carolina fans were pretty chill. The stadium's pretty nice. It was hotter than hell, but it won't be that this time of year, thank God.
Yeah, definitely make sure y'all turn on your notifications and tune in, especially if you're going to be boots on ground out there in North Carolina for the game this next week. We got the Panthers on the slate next up on the road. Like my guy Angel says, Rico was on point. How about Rico Dowdle tonight in the run game, y'all? 12 carries, 79 yards, 1 touchdown, man. It's been a lot of shade on Tony Pollard's name out there. A lot of folks talking bad about Tony Pollard, but I just remember a few weeks ago when folks were saying Ezekiel Elliott should be gone and it needs to be Tony Pollard. Now we got everybody hollering Rico Dowdle.
Shout out to Angel. What's up, man? Angel's been here for a long time, man. He's been following for a long time. One of my metal homeboys, man. It's always good to see him showing up and commenting. Yeah, man. It was good to see. It was good to see all these, like, a bunch of different defensive players. It'd be different if you're kind of getting beat in one position, but like we talked about at the beginning of this show, man, in the pregame, they had a lot of injuries. And again, we can be happy about our team, but also we got to taper that by understanding they had a lot of people out. But even if they had people in, we still would have whipped their ass. But we did what we needed to do and took advantage of the matchups. And that's the kind of stuff that I needed to see because of the conversation we had earlier about us always playing down to our opponent. But if we do that, we please make sure we don't play down to division opponents. That's all I say.
In the first couple of series in this game, and I'm like, here we go again. Like Dak says, here we go. Here we go. Playing down to the damn level of the competition. But they fixed that. They turned that around real quick in the first half as we seen them go up by halftime. So appreciate everybody tapping in here today. Like my guy Daryl Breeden says, big time Green Bay supporter says, that's how you smash your team. Right. Yeah, because if it would have been close, if, y'all know how it goes, man. Them haters will be there, but when we win, they be quiet. And when we lose, they be back out talking shit again.
They're going to cry in the car. We know this.
Most definitely. But if you're a Green Badge and you support this content, do me a favor, leave us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know what you're seeing today out there in the game. Your Cowboys are now 6-3, a level we're sitting at. Keys to victory, like we said, hold this Giants team to under 100 yards rushing here today. You take a look at that. They had actually 111 yards rushing. That was right on par with where they're at. I think 7th in the league, 113 yards a game. But it really didn't matter because a lot of those yards came in that second half, especially after the damage was done and the Dallas Cowboys was letting up a little bit. So that was the first key to victory here today. We didn't hold them under 100 yards, but nonetheless got the victory. I think we held them to only 61 passing yards. So definitely kept the pass game in check. It was all essentially Saquon Barkley coming in. We knew that we needed to hold them under 100 yards. That would be stat pro quo, but at 111, the Cowboys still get the win, 49-17. We said that the defense is going to have to be the turnover team. We got a turnover with DaRon Bland when he chunked it up there. I think DeVito chunked it up there in that second half. DaRon Bland finally came down with his 5th pick of the season, baby. DaRon Bland fitting in very nicely in the absence of Trayvon Diggs. And then also, not to mention those 5 sacks, which we named off. None of them named Micah Parsons, but the Lion out there still, you got to account for him. So shout out to those guys like Neville Gallimore and Dorrance Armstrong getting those key sacks. Dallas Cowboys finished with 5 sacks. We only had that 1 turnover, but the defense did enough, especially with Dak Prescott lighting up on all cylinders when it came to this offense tonight.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. Dak just didn't care, man. That was a beautiful thing to see. And the defense really, I think what happens is, in a lot of times, so we expect our defense, especially our defense, to be firing on all cylinders and jumping routes and stuff like that. I think if this game was a little closer, like if it maybe was 27-14 at halftime, And the same going into the third quarter. We would see some of these corners maybe jumping routes, but we had this game handled. So the fact that we got an interception really was huge to begin with, because our corners aren't going to be taking chances in games like this when we're blowing somebody out. They're going to be sitting a little bit lazier on it and just covering the route as opposed to trying to jump something, because there's no desperation to do that. At least that's my opinion. So the fact that Duran was just where he needed to be in position, which is the way he always does play, and was able to make that interception was huge. But our guys weren't jumping routes today because they didn't need to be doing it. They were the Giants were just putrid.
Not the way that pass rush was set up. I mean, most of those runs that Saquon Barkley had today. Let's take a look at the Giants' total offense there. Saquon Barkley, 13 carries for only 66 yards. I mean, Tommy DeVito, the quarterback there, his first NFL game ever, came in 7 carries, 41 yards. That was all of their yards on the ground there, essentially between both Barkley and DeVito. But holding Barkley in check at 66 yards, definitely still great, even though DeVito had to get out on his foot. That's just the pass rush, getting in there, breaking up those plays, allowing DeVito to get out on his feet. But I really like the way that we're building this momentum. We definitely need this right about now, especially after coming off that loss against Philly the way that we did. We needed a win in this fashion like we got today. We got the Carolina Panthers up next. Now, we know the Carolina Panthers, I mean, let's just call it, they probably are worse than the New York Giants. I don't know. Maybe it's the Giants worse or is the Panthers worse? I don't know. But any given Sunday, we know that teams can show up. And any given Sunday when a team plays the Cowboys, we know it's their Super Bowl. So we're going to expect Carolina to bring it. The Cowboys cannot look past our next opponent. We've got to build this momentum going through the rest of these 3 games. After all, we've got 3 more games in another 19 days. We've had 4 games now in 19 days. We've got the Panthers up next, like I said, next Sunday. Then we got 2 Thursday back-to-back games where we host the Commanders at home and we host the Seahawks at home on Thursday Night Football. So key division games and also NFC games, as we've seen the Seahawks beat the Commanders today too, also in the NFC. Very important when it comes to stacking. So Cowboys handling business in the NFC East. We know the Eagles had a bye here today. The Washington Commanders, like we said, took that L from the Seattle Seahawks. So, 3 more big games. I like the way these games are set up. Bob, how are you seeing the next 3 games pan out for our Cowboys in the remaining month of November?
So, again, I don't know. I like being proven wrong by this team. We've got Carolina next. Carolina next should be, it's in Carolina. So I guess maybe there is a little bit of hope for the home team for them. But I know they're also going to be selling the hell out of their tickets because they're a horrible team right now. So I feel like we should get that win. Now, Thanksgiving against Washington is a little bit of that's a coin flip right there, just because of how that goes down every year. I haven't had
Sam Howell's doing pretty good over there.
Yeah, and, he's airing it out.
I got him in one of my fantasy lineups. So I mean, they took the Eagles to overtime. I mean, they are no pushover. They're no Carolina. They're no New York. Now, we know any team can line up on any given Sunday and beat the Cowboys. We've seen the Joshua Dobbs-led Arizona Cardinals team do that early on when we got our first slice of humble pie. But the way that we handle this game here today, Bob, I think going into these next few games, like you said, I mean, we got to get on this roll, baby, because coming in December, I mean, we got Philly coming into town in December, baby. That's on the 10th. For a primetime game, the rematch. And I called it. I said whoever won that first matchup between the Cowboys and the Eagles would likely win the division. And I wish I wouldn't have said that. But if the Cowboys can continue to hold court here in the NFC East, especially with this Commanders team like you're talking about on Thursday Night Football, I like our chances with this division, especially if we can handle business going into December. Like you said, tricky game on Thanksgiving nonetheless. Anything can happen, but I think after this game, I think maybe now this offense is hitting in stride. We know what this defense can do. This offense is on a roll a little bit. We didn't see Kevontae Turpin out there today. I thought he was going to be in the game, but he did not play today. So I'm wondering how that injury is looking for him. We didn't need him, but
no.
Gotta like what Dak is doing with his wide receiver unit. I mean, the tight ends, everybody got some love today. And I like our chances, especially with these remaining games in November. But the Cowboys going to have to show up, baby.
Well, again, I think that Thanksgiving game, since it's not only a Thanksgiving game, it's a division game. But the plus side for us is I don't think their corners and safeties match up with the way our wide receivers are currently playing right now. including that kid who I don't even know who the hell he is, who made a couple catches today. It seems like we're picking up wide receivers now, and they're being plopped in, and we're going to have Bryant in here probably maybe for that Thanksgiving game. I don't know. That might be pretty crazy, maybe a couple weeks, but I don't know. I think again, it's going to be at home, and we seem to be unbeatable at home. And
I think we'll probably see him around that Eagles game. I think they'll probably use him and try to get him acclimated to the offense, get him up to speed, especially after this game. There should be no rush for us to bring him in. He's got to get acclimated. I mean, after all, he's had a tough path. I know he hasn't played a game in 5 years, but, this guy's coming through the NFL program where, he's had some problems with substance abuse, mental health, and things of that nature. And the Cowboys are taking a chance on him on a redemption story here. So I don't see them trying to rush him back. I would anticipate maybe against that Eagles game, because we're going to need a big body in their red zone against this Eagles team, because we're going to need everything we need to take them out December 10th, baby, because whoever going to win that game going to win this division. If the Cowboys can continue to win out in these division games against the Giants, against the Commanders, especially on this Thursday night football, because I don't think we see the Commanders again until later in the year, right? I think back in January.
No, and on top of that, no matter who you are, the number one or the person with the best record has got the target. So this is what's going to be on the back of the Philadelphia Eagles for the next 3 weeks, is a team every week that's powerful, that's ready to knock them down a peg or two. And that's the gauntlet they have to face. Whereas we're not facing that kind of gauntlet for the next 3 weeks. So we have the ability to build some positive momentum going into a part of the year where we have to win. And I'm glad that we're getting stride now. We're getting talent now. We're getting all these additions. We're getting healthy now. This is all good shit for the end of a season, or for the middle to the end of the season. And I think we've got a really, really good chance to make a run here, as long as Philly doesn't just straight beat everybody out for the next 3 games, man. I think we might be all right.
I mean, even if they do it and we see Philly, I mean, it's going to matter then against the NFC stackings, how we did in the NFC conference. We'll have to evaluate that when we get there. But like my guy Park Ranger is tapping in here today. See you, Park Ranger, out there. Big time Green Bay supporter right there. Gym Rat of the month for October, tapping in, says Cowboys and Indians, old school rivalry. That's right, baby. Cowboys and Indians, just like the days of old. I remember growing up in the days of the 80s, watching the Cowboys and the Redskins on Thanksgiving religiously. We're going to get that again here today. We're not going to get the Cowboys on Christmas this year. I think the Eagles and the Giants are locked up on an NFC East division game for Christmas. But nonetheless, you're right, Park Ranger. Cowboys and Indians on Thanksgiving. Can we get what's his name out there? Chief Z. Y'all remember when Chief Z, the old mascots back in the day, Chief Z of the Washington Redskins,
Let me tell you, man.
Crazy Ray of the Dallas Cowboys, going back and forth about it. How about let's give it up for Crazy Ray and Chief Z. That's right, baby, on Thanksgiving. Great segue there, Park Ranger.
That was the first I didn't get to see it on Thanksgiving, but the very first Cowboys game I ever got to see was in Texas Stadium in 1997. The Dallas Cowboys were playing the Washington Redskins, which they were the Redskins at the time. It was me, Eric, John, Damian, Paul, and my then wife. And it was awesome. And we got to see that on multiple occasions, those guys going at it, man. And they were all about those particular mascots, man. They made it feel like it was a real rivalry, man. It was beautiful to see, man. I am so lucky that I was able to see a game in Texas Stadium, if I'm being honest. I'm real lucky.
Now, shout out to Scott Wills.
I have 2 chairbacks from Texas Stadium too, by the way. 2 of these guys from Texas Stadium.
Ancient artifact there. The History Channel with Bob here on In the Trenches today. My guy Scott says we have to rely. He says when we have to rely on the run game, we fall short. Well, today the Cowboys run game looked pretty impressive, if you ask me. Cowboys with 168 rushing yards. Now, granted, Tony Pollard, like me, I'm a Tony Pollard owner in my fantasy football. It's not all that sexy, but the Cowboys definitely got it done on the ground today. But I understand a little bit of what you mean there. But let's take a look at, somebody else made a comment there, and I wanted to allude to this. They said, no, not a bunch of crazy penalties today. But what if I told you the Cowboys had 9 penalties for 83 yards today?
Yeah, it's all about where you get them, and also whether you're winning or losing when they're happening.
Yeah, definitely. But let's take a look at this. I don't like this disturbing trend that I'm starting to see, Bob.
Nope.
The Cowboys, even before Week 10 is over with, now sit tied for league lead of penalties at 69 as we talk about the discipline. Yeah, it wasn't much to affect the game here today, but still the discipline department, the Cowboys leading the league. This is a trend that we are not going to be able to make it in the postseason. We're not going to be able to give the ball away like that.
Yeah, that's bad.
Or I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to compete in big time games, especially averaging 9, 10 flags a game, even though it was a lopsided win today. But your Cowboys still tied for the league with the Cardinals. With the Cardinals got a win today too, with the return of Kyler Murray. That was kind of interesting. But leading the league 69 penalties apiece, man. How do y'all think about the penalties today? I want to hear from y'all if you're tapping in. What do y'all think about the penalties? What do y'all think about the discipline? What did y'all see out there today? Y'all talk to us.
Yeah, I really do believe those, on our end of this, it still goes to character. It still goes to preparation. There were a couple times in the game where we were taking timeouts because delay of games were imminent. That's stupid too. So the situation is this: it's not just our team, the players on the field that are making these dumbass mistakes. Our coach is historically bad when it comes to using a freaking watch, and I really get terrified anytime the game is on the line when time is a factor. And you saw it today. I don't know if it was they were managing it wrong. Maybe Dak is on the field too long, not getting the huddle put together. I don't know, but we had at least 2 timeouts I saw that were taken because we were almost going to incur a delay of game, and that shit is right alongside taking a penalty. Having to take a timeout to avoid one is just as ineffective in the long run. So
situational football, situational management, situational leadership. Like my guy Gregory says, a lot of those penalties were during garbage time. Well, nonetheless, penalties. I mean, the Cowboys at the top of the heap again after Week 10 at 69 penalties, not the top of the ladder where we want to be.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you cut it, man. Whether garbage time is actually the time when you're not supposed to be making those damn penalties. That's when you should be relaxing. That's garbage time is when you're winning the game. But yeah, I don't like it. It's a very disturbing trend, like you said. It's something we've talked about every year for fucking decades, BG. Decades, man. It's just what are you gonna do? What it's like, I don't know. It's like the youth of today, man. They don't have any repercussions.
Well, I like where we're sitting at 6-3. We got the Panthers next. Like I said, the Commanders and then the Seahawks on back-to-back Thursday night football to close out the month of November. Big time games. Nonetheless, Cowboys going to have to stay focused. Division game with the Commanders. NFC game, especially with the Seahawks. I mean, the Seahawks squeaked out a win today, I think, at home. Last second field goal today. I can't remember who they played. But
Washington.
There we go, Commanders. Hey, we talked about that earlier, right?
So good thing. Good to see them lose.
Game, though. That was a good game, nonetheless. But yeah, great, important NFC game. But Cowboys did the thing today, baby. They did the damn thing. 49-17. My biggest concern, like I said, is the penalty still. I don't care if it's garbage time or not. The Cowboys are going to have to get more discipline. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I mean, you take a look at the penalties. I mean, I don't even think the Eagles are on this board. I think they're down. Yeah, they're down there where you can't see. You got to have like this StatMuse membership in order to be able to see it. They're so far down. I mean, they're so good of a disciplined team. They don't receive that many penalties. But the Cowboys, on the other hand, we stay getting them penalties. We averaging down there 9, 10 penalties a game, especially 69 after Week 10. I mean, that's what, 7? That's damn near 7 a game almost.
Man. That's
7 penalties a game is not going to be it's not going to help us win no big games, especially in them moments where we, get holding calls on critical plays, pre-snap motions or whatever you call it. Like you say, the huddle ups, the clock management, those different things. But a win cures all elements. So big win for the Cowboys today. They got time to get ready to come back for next week on the road with the Carolina Panthers. Like we said, it's going to be a big game out there. A lot of Cowboy fans are going to be out there, boots on ground. We're going to have one of our own reps here. I know Kelly, a lot of people are going to be out there, boots on ground for the Panthers game. So I'm excited and looking forward to that. But 6-3 Cowboys, baby, in the trenches. You got to like where we're at.
Yeah, I was hoping we only got 2 losses this year, but that seemed a little unrealistic. It's just such a tough situation. And man, considering how many people have gone down with Achilles tendon injuries this year, it's a weird ass year, man. And I'm just again, in the division that we're in, I'm super happy to be only taking those 3 losses. One of them was in division, one of them was in conference, one of them. I mean, I don't know. They're tough losses no matter what, but I think we've got the momentum right now to start looking better, man. I feel a lot better about our team. And again, we can't keep saying to ourselves that this team is going to look like this when we play San Francisco or Philly or any of these other teams, but we've been winning at home, and that's important.
That's 12 games. Yeah, that's 12. That's a 12-game win streak at home right now. I think the longest the Cowboys have done it since the 70s.
Yep.
I think we can get 18 straight or something like that.
Imagine a playoff game at home after all that. That would be beautiful. I know I said the P word a little too early, but if we can get something like that, that's a great amount of momentum to help us out.
Yeah. Yeah, great context there, Terrence. Exactly. Discipline. We've got to clean that up. We can't afford to take averaging 7 penalties a game. I mean, come on, Mike McCarthy. You let Nick Sirianni over there with 2 coordinators coach you out of the league, basically, with a more disciplined team. I can't stand it. Come on now, let's get it together. Shout out to my guy, Aaron. He says, here's the plot about these penalties. What do you think will happen if Dallas go to the playoffs with no penalties? Just think about that. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Aaron. It is kind of like a double-edged sword, if you ask me, especially when we get into them close games. But that's where, like my guy Terrence has said, where this discipline has got to come in. We got to get it how we get it. You know, whether the refs are going to give us a little love or we're going to stay more disciplined. I mean, the Cowboys are going to have to do it because 9 penalties today. We're lucky. This was a lopsided game, 49-17. Otherwise, just look back to last week against the Eagles, where we had 10 penalties. Both teams had 10 penalties. Actually, the Eagles were penalized for more yards in that game, but those penalties that we took, when we took them and how they took them, made the difference in that game. Now, not blaming the refs totally, but that discipline took us out because the Cowboys had their opportunities to win that game just like they did today, and they've got to take their opportunities moving forward. But you're right, Terrence. You're right, Aaron. We got to clean that stuff up, baby.
Yep. I mean, it's all self-inflicted. And again, we have to be happy that we played a team today that was a little inept and, they were not really in a position to beat us and take those penalties that we took, and they didn't really affect us in a big way, but they will affect us against a potent team like the Niners or the Eagles, which are the 2 teams we're going to see again. Those are the teams that are the bar for what we have to battle.
And I mean, look at how San Fran came out today. They look like the San Fran of old, back when they gave us our ass shellacking back out the Pant Stadium. But my guy RC was out there, boots on ground. Shout out to my guy RC tapping in as a Facebook user. I know he's in the actual Cowboy Cousins group. That's why it's coming up as Facebook user. But shout out to my guy RC, coldest Cowboy fan. I know out there from Alaska, boots on ground at the game. He says he's just leaving. It was electric. I bet it was, especially after Dak. That's 640 yards of offense today.
Nice. It was electric. Yeah, man, I got to get to a game out. I got to get to a home game. Woo!
Figueroa Ryan tapping in says Dallas also has a shot at the division. Philly got KC and the Bills. That's right, in December, as well as Dallas can take advantage before they meet them. Anything is possible for a home playoff game. I mean, the Bills lost. The Bills look in question too. We still got them in December. That's going to be a game that's going to matter on the ground because it's going to be snowing out there in Buffalo in December come next month. Shout out to my guy Melvin Bird, always tapping in here, engaging on the content. Says what's to be excited about? The Cowboys win. Everyone knew they was going to beat the Giants as always, but they just can't seem to beat the team that has over 500 though. Well, I mean, you can point to a lot of teams in the league this season and say, well, they haven't beat a whole lot of teams over 500. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but any given Sunday, I mean, have you taken a look at the Niners? I mean, after they won their midseason Super Bowl against the Cowboys, they went what? They lost 3 in a row?
Yeah, yes. This is the season to use that phrase, any given Sunday. It's happening to everybody. We understand Philly is out there being the one team that's not really being affected by that whole thing, but they did lose a game, and any given Sunday game, that's just the way that goes. And it's just going around to a lot of teams right now, man. So I don't really buy that. I think crushing an opponent is a worthy win, no matter who the hell the opponent is.
Man, oh my God, Aaron getting a little antsy over there, baby. We're gonna get you a question now.
Hey,
question, Aaron. He says, "What if I told you Dallas will host San Fran and Philly?" Okay, we're gonna have to get it done. Don't matter who we host once we get into the postseason, no matter who we play or how we get there, Cowboys going to have to do it the best way we can. First and foremost is by winning the division. The Cowboys got to continue to win these division games. And we got to split with Philly and find out where the cards fall after the fact. But we could possibly, you're right, Aaron, could be hosting the Eagles or we could be hosting the Niners come to postseason. But still a lot of season left, a lot of games still left to be played, especially in the NFC side of the house, the way things are shaking up. I mean, look at some of the teams that won again today on the wire during the witching hour. It's been a crazy season, man. Been a very, very crazy season. I mean, look at Baltimore. Baltimore was on top of, Cleveland pretty much all day today. And Cleveland managed to come back and squeak out that win as hot as Baltimore has been. And big up and everybody been doing to Baltimore. So any given Sunday, but I'm with you, baby. I'm with you, Aaron.
It got wacky. Whatever. Why can't I go that way for us? It's going to go that way for us eventually, man. That's just the way it goes, man.
Then we got Caitlin always tapping in with the context. Hey, Caitlin, how you doing, girl? Finally got you in fantasy football today. I see you didn't think I was going to give you the business. She says this was Dak's 7th game of 400-plus yards, 70% completions, and second most in the NFL history. Man, look. Haters don't want to respect that, man. They don't like Dak Prescott. They just don't like him, man. They don't like
Numbers don't matter. Numbers don't matter. How many Super Bowls has he got?
They don't like him. But thank you for Caitlin for always tapping in with the context. That right. Big game for Dak Prescott today. Shout out to my guy, Angel. He says, I love when the Cowboys win on the road. It burns other fans to the core. Yeah, we won at home today. We definitely got to go on the road and win. And that's where the Cowboys have had troubles this season as we went into San Fran and lost. We went into Philly and lost. We went to Arizona and lost. I mean, can the Cowboys finally get on the road this week and get a win? We're going to see perfect game set up with the Carolina Panthers because you know what they're going to be saying anyway. Well, y'all was supposed to win. It's the Carolina Panthers after all.
Yeah, just move the goalpost, man. It doesn't even matter.
What up, Lee? I see you, baby. Appreciate you tapping in. Melvin says, I just can't get excited about us no more because we ain't never consistent. It's up and down. We always go home after the first round of the playoffs. Look, man, we just won today. I'm with you, baby. But we got to take this one game at a time. And if the Cowboys can build this momentum and win out in November, it's going to heat up December 10th because the Cowboys got to host the NFC East champs. Philadelphia Eagles, December 10th at home. We can't let them get that win. The Cowboys going to have to stand up, baby. Like I said, this division has not had a repeat champion in 19 years. Cowboys going to have to stop that, baby.
That's crazy.
Exactly, Figueroa. Lions almost lost to the Chargers today. That was a close one, too. A lot of close games in the league today.
No doubt, man. But hey, we showed the good thing. Here's what a game like this does. It gives people like Brandon Cooks and some of the guys who might not have seen a lot of targets recently. Some more reps and some more confidence going into these games that they've been playing, that they're going to be playing up here. I mean, I really honestly feel like this kind of lit a fuse. I think Cooks is going to be a target in a big way from here on out because, I mean, look, they're doubling CD and he's still getting 150 yards on their ass, man. Like
CD's going to eat, but man, you're right. You are right about Brandon Cooks. If you've been questioning why did the Cowboys go out and get old-ass Brandon Cooks 10 years in the league with still 4.3 speed, clocking in at OTAs earlier this spring, you see why. See why now. 9 receptions, 173 yards, and 1 touchdown. I just want to ask all the people that was saying Brandon Cooks was washed. Is he still washed or not?
Yeah, he put it on today, man. He was firing up, and it's open field. That dude's going to be really tough to catch, man.
As long as Dak can stay on point, you know what I mean? We had that interception there in the first half, and I figured that'd wake up all the cockroaches here. But they really didn't scurry out that fast when the lights came on because I think Dak Prescott had his foot on their neck, especially with the New York Giants. I mean, 87, 90, how many points? 87-17 or something like that? I mean, we scored today. 47? 49. Yeah. 89-17 in 2 games. 89-17. That's a lot of points, man.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad, man. And it's been kind of going back and forth to the point where I'm sure it's very hard for teams to scheme against us in the way that our defense will take over some games, our offense take over some games. We've got the ability to do that. It's been a while since we've had as potent of an offense as we have kind of a defense, and we've got a lot of things going well for us, man. Turpin coming back is going to kind of help our special teams because I think Vaughn is really not the greatest running back because he's not getting reps to be so. But I think he could do a little better on kick returns and punt returns, and we just wind up moving Turpin to an offensive player a little bit more. And see what Vaughn can do for us on returns because he was a monster with those.
So we got stat news up here. We take a look at your Dallas Cowboys through 10 weeks. Right now, currently second in the league at points per game, 29.9. Fifth at holding opponents at 18.3 points a game. We're averaging 117 yards on the ground and 279. That was about 260 after the day. But Dak Prescott pushing that up to 279 yards. Fourth passing in the league, man. With this defense, I'm telling you, we mess around, we catch fire right now and get to rolling. I've seen some of these other teams in this league look like they may begin to peak too early. But if the Cowboys can continue at this clip with this offense and this defense continues to hum, I'm telling you guys, this could be a year that may be different when we get into the postseason. We don't know how different that's going to look. Still a lot of season still left, but I like the way that these games are lined up between Carolina, the Commanders, and finishing off with the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football this month. I mean, big-time Christmas game, then a back-to-back Thursday night football game with the Seahawks at the end of the month as the Seahawks are traveling down where the Cowboys are playing really good. At home, we got those two games back-to-back, Thanksgiving and the Seahawks at home. So even though we're going on to the road, I mean, the Cowboys could close out 4-0 in the month of November and really catch fire going into December, looking at that December 10th date of hosting the NFC East Division champion Philadelphia Eagles.
Whew. Wow, man. Yeah, well, there's some good football ahead, man. This is the kind of stuff that makes us feel a little bit better about the team, man. That we needed. I think the team needed it. The fan base needed it. The next few games are still going to be, don't underestimate these opponents, but it shows that at least if we're going to play teams that are not the greatest, we better whip their ass. And I feel like that's going to happen for the next 2 weeks.
And I think that's why you came out and said 40-10 or something like that. I said 50-0. I mean, we'd have to blank them again and put a 50 burger on it just to shut the haters up. But I'll take 49-17 at 6-3 all day. And I know you will too, Bob, but we've been in the trenches again, baby. This is 9 shows on the season, baby. We have not missed a game yet. Make sure you turn on your notifications. Next week, we'll be live in the trenches and we'll have a lot of boots on ground intel tapping in. So shout out to our guy, John, who joined us. He'll be tapping in. We know Kelly out there, the East Coast, going to be out there, boots on ground. We're going to have some folks do adminning of the day next week too. Big time, a lot of events going on. So make sure, turn on your notifications. We're going to be sharing all that good information, but your Cowboys are 6-3 now after week 10, baby. We got the Panthers up next, man. You got any shout outs you want to give before we get out of here tonight, Bob?
Man, shout out to the Cowboys, man. They did exactly what they were supposed to do, man. I hate the playing down to your opponent thing, and it didn't happen tonight. Me and my wife were high-fiving all night, throwing the ball. Every time we score, I throw a ball for my dog across the thing in my basement, and he goes crazy. So it was good to just keep having to do that, man. We just kept scoring and scoring and scoring, man. It just, I don't know, man. Sometimes it works like that for us, but it was beautiful to see CD get what he deserved today. So yeah, just shout out to Cowboys, to the Cowboys fans around the world, man. Keep growing. And yeah, man, it was a beautiful game. We got to keep focusing.
Yep. Shout out to CD Lamb with that. We're going to end that. I mean, the only receiver in NFL history, 3 games, 10 catches per game, over 150 yards. There's only one receiver that had done it, and that has been number 88 for the Dallas Cowboys.
That's crazy.
I'm BG. He's Bob, baby. We've been in the trenches. We appreciate y'all joining. Make sure you turn on your notifications and join us next week as the Panthers host the Cowboys on the road, baby. Can the Cowboys get a road game? That's going to be what we're going to be talking about this week because, quite frankly, we can win at home. It's just the road where our biggest question marks lie. I'm BG. That's Bob. We've been in the trenches, man. We'll see y'all in the gym on the next episode.